it started in the punk scene, but I think it's kind of going out to normie territory now. It's just like the phrase, I used to think it was cringe, but now I kind of like it, of Iowa City, World City, and I think that's very, Iowa City, World City. It's a place that's completely unlike anything else.
Good. Everything's looking good. Evan, you good?
I'm good.
All right. My mic placement needs to be perfect before I start this. Hello, everyone. This is the 212th episode of Rock Hard Caucus, your favorite and only podcast. Today is an important day, August 24th, 2025. I didn't know where I was going with that sentence. Why is this important, Evan? Why is it an important day?
Every day is important.
Back me up here.
But we have a guest today. That's why it's important. We haven't had a guest for a while.
It's true. It's just been the two of us because I'm too socially lazy to invite people on the show.
And I definitely am also too socially lazy to invite people on the show.
Yeah, is that a thing? Social laziness? It seems... I don't know if I've heard people say that, but I definitely have that.
Yeah, totally.
It's
totally
not anxiety. Same. I'm not like worried about talking to people. It's just too much effort.
Yeah. We're just introverts at heart,
I guess. So anyway,
I love talking to people.
Yeah.
That's why you're a great guest.
Yeah. So yeah, let's properly introduce the guest. We've got Dr. Emma Denney returning to the show. Welcome back, Emma. Nice to see you.
Nice to be back. I think this is my third time,
I think that's right. It's been about 6 months. I was just kind of reviewing the archive here. You came on during the state's legislative session. We discussed the awfulness that was potentially about to come. It turns out a lot of that did come to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I think last time I was here was because Terry Branstad called me a socialist.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I thought that it would be a good moment to have you back to discuss primarily something that happened in Iowa City this week. They had their city council meeting on Tuesday, the 19th, at which they passed a resolution seeking to uphold some local protections for LGBTQ plus individuals, in Iowa City, sort of trying to make up for what's happening at the state level. And Emma, you were a big part of the whole process of making that happen. And it's been a process. It's been a long time coming, right?
It took so long. It took, I'm doing this I want to try to be nice to people, but it took an embarrassingly long amount of time to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, city attorneys and county attorneys are scared people.
Mm-hmm. What are they scared of, do you think?
They are scared if you take what they tell you at 100% face value, they are scared of Iowa Code 27B and its implications.
Okay.
27B is the no sanctuary cities stuff and is the you can't tell the police to not enforce a law stuff.
Right. Okay.
Mainly it's just especially at the county level, we ran into so many we'd have a meeting with staff or county supervisors and we'd say, great, so you guys are going to follow up on this. And then a month later it'd be like, hey, what happened with that thing we talked about last month? Oh, well, we still haven't done that. And it was that for a year and a half. Right?
Sure. So it was they weren't making it a priority. Is that kind of why it took so long?
Definitely. And couching it behind legal concerns that
lawyers.
ultimately in my opinion were unfounded.
Sure. Right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about more about this process. You mentioned the county. This is actually kind of where it started because Johnson County recently passed a similar resolution, and then this Iowa City one that just passed is kind of a follow-up on that, which I've heard it's a better piece of a better document.
I like it a little bit more. It has, while all of these, and I know Coralville is working on one right now also, and I know that there's some push to North Liberty. There's some folks in North Liberty that are fighting against that, but you know, that's North Liberty. Generally speaking, all of these policies say, hey, we are still going to protect civil rights for trans and LGBT people in our municipalities. We are going to empower the county attorney or city attorney to be a direct part of legal challenges to anti-trans laws, filing amicus briefs, looking to be like party to suits, things like that. And additionally saying that the county and the city understand trans rights to be constitutional rights protected by the 14th Amendment.
Right. Of the big Constitution, the U.S. Constitution.
Of the U.S. one. And then a thing encouraging other municipalities to do this. So, like, there's some talk with Dubuque and some talk with Cedar Rapids, and I'm emailing someone from Des Moines. Like, there's other places that are starting to jump on this. But the basic idea is that cities and counties actually do have meaningful power to restore these rights and protect these rights. I think SF 14 took trans people out of the Iowa Civil Rights Act and Iowa Civil Rights Code, but that code says local municipalities can do more and have human rights commissions that are set up to investigate whatever the county or the city decides, right? Okay. So what we were doing and what took a lot of convincing was like, no, within your existing power, you don't have to give yourself new authority. You don't have to pass any new ordinances. You have the power right now to do this.
Do you think that might be a future target of Steve Holt and those people? Like,
it is every year. Yeah. It is every year. Every single time Iowa City or Johnson County does anything that they don't like, right? So, like, be prepared for, you can't have human rights commissions as a bill next session.
Yeah, they already got rid of the citizen police review boards.
Exactly. Or even they passed a bill that specifically Johnson County has to do their elections differently, right? Like it's that will happen anyway, no matter what you do in Iowa. So you soldier on and you continue to find new strategies, right? This is our current new strategy because it really relies on like old, established, existing principles in the Iowa Code. And, you know, we'll see how this one goes.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you don't fight back in some way, just give up, then it's like, well, that's even worse. We'll just let them do whatever they want, run roughshod over all the people that
live
here.
We need to uphold the principles of federalism.
Right.
Yeah, right.
In this case, I guess it's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned like Iowa cities, people feeling that Iowa cities is a little stronger. That is because it's sort of on the one level names a lot of very specific rights. So kind of goes through SF 418 and says like, not in Iowa City. Everything you crossed out in SF 418, we are uncrossing in our code.
Sure.
And lays out the process of investigations through the Human Rights Commission. So lays out a really clear, like, if you have a discrimination claim, this is where you go, and this is how that process works.
And this is discrimination in terms of like housing and employment, right?
Housing, employment, access to credit and banking, public accommodations, things like that.
Okay. Do we have a record of this process? Has this like been used before? Has the Human Rights Commission seen cases of this type of discrimination?
Yes, they have. The Human Rights Commission keeps those statistics. I don't know them off the top of my head. Yeah. That if you go watch the work session from last week's city council meeting, there is a graph that has all of those statistics.
Oh, great. Okay.
I do not remember, but yes. And including in the last, like, they have pursued like anti-trans discrimination claims in the last several years. Like, this is something that body is already doing. It's just making it clear how they are empowered to do that and what that process is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about, like, so resolutions often are seen as kind of just like an empty gesture, more like just a governing body saying like, hey, this is what we think, with a thumbs up. But this seems to have a little bit more of a concrete plan, or like there's a purpose to this where it can be like actually implemented in some ways. I don't know if there's any sort of battle on like how to make a resolution actually do something.
Yes. So the main things that resolutions do compared to ordinances is resolutions establish policy and direct staff. Right. So it is while an ordinances create new like statutes or, all that stuff. What a resolution does is says, okay, but within our statute, this is how we are going to follow. This is how we're going to enforce and pursue a statute. And also like, who is going to be in charge of doing that and what are they doing? Right. Is what you can do with resolutions. So cool. For example, a lot of other municipalities in other states will have a like, you can't come after doctors who are providing gender affirming care in our city, and can establish that under resolution because that is directing police, right? As a thing process. We can't legally do that in Iowa, so ours looks different, but we can sort of establish policy and then have like department heads and operational directors and stuff be directed to pursue that policy in various ways. Okay.
Yeah. So you drew from similar resolutions in other parts of the country. Is there anything aside from, directing, county or city attorneys to just leave doctors alone, which I guess we can't really do here because you can't tell people not to enforce laws according to the state of Iowa. But is there any other stuff from other municipalities that like you wish we could be doing here that isn't in our resolutions for whatever reason? Yeah.
Specifically all of the things about non-enforcement and about sanctuary status, which includes things like document sharing, right? Like we can't, if Iowa comes looking for documents about trans people in Iowa City is still currently obliged to give them, right? I think there's a lot in regards to like healthcare access that is like beyond the scope of what the city can do at the moment. We're working on that, but at the moment. And additionally, I think there's a lot specifically about how the law impacts trans kids and what the rights of trans kids are that because Iowa is a very special part of the hell dimension, we can't fix, right? There are a lot of community resources, right, that try to address those things. I think it's important to note that like the community takes care of itself, and there's a lot of community projects to making sure people are okay and have access. And, it's not like city ordinances are how we're going to get through this, but they're something to do.
Yeah, of course. And it seems like an effort to reduce hurdles and make things a little bit easier, but it's not going to take care of everything.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm reminded. So as you were saying that, I was thinking about how, Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund helps people, get across state borders to get care in places where it's more easily accessible and stuff. And how Illinois just opened up, it's like an LGBT helpline or something.
Legal advice hotline, which is an interesting development because there's been the LGBT like crisis hotlines, suicide hotlines, things like that. But I just like, hey, I am experiencing discrimination, or I think my landlord's being shitty to me, or I'm being denied services that I am due. Right? Like, you have a number to call about that is kind of fantastic.
Yeah, this is the first of its kind, right?
First of its kind.
Cool. So that's a cool thing that. They're only helping Illinois residents, I imagine, but hopefully it's...
in my understanding,
yes. Pretend you're in Illinois.
Call it yet.
Yeah.
A lot of it's kind of apply the same.
See how far you get, right?
Yeah, for sure. So something that was... I attended this city council meeting where this passed unanimously, so I'm glad that nobody dissented. They were too...
Yeah.
They at least fully believed in it, or were too scared to vote no.
They were too afraid to vote no, yeah.
The weird people who were at the meeting earlier left by that point in time.
But something I thought was funny was Counselor Josh Moe mentioned that he had attended meetings with the county's trans advisory. Is it a committee or a commission?
We are
right?
a committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long ago this was that he met with you all, but he had mentioned at the time.
Last week, a week before.
Oh, it was really recent. Okay. He mentioned that he was worried that passing something like this would like put a spotlight on Johnson County and Iowa City, which is always something that these more cautious Democrat type people bring up is like, well, we don't need any more attention on us. But it seems like you convinced him that was foolish. So I'm wondering if you have if you can shed some light on how you argued against that point.
I think sort of really hammering home that the other option is doing nothing, right? This is in fact the least you can do. And sort of challenging a little bit, like, so what else would we do, right? Like,
yeah,
like truly, like what other than nothing would you do? And that sort of seemed effective. And additionally, because like sort of hitting, if you've ever heard Mayor Bruce Teague address this in previous things, he'll say like, we're already such a welcoming and inclusive community and all this stuff, and sort of hammering on that. It's just like, well, if you want that to continue, people have to know that protections exist. People have to know that they can come here and be at least a little more safe than they would other places in the state. Right?
Yeah.
And there's no point in doing anything if no one knows about it.
Right. And we're not operating in like a static world, like Iowa City is very welcoming right now, but it exists under and within a larger system that's constantly getting worse. So Iowa City has to get better to compensate.
And there's already a target. I mean, the Socialist Republic of Iowa City. I remember that from fucking high school.
Growing up. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
This is kind of like off topic. Well, it's not off topic. It's just a weird thing that just came to mind. My grandpa one time told me that there were gangs of lesbians in Iowa City that would just beat straight people up in like the 70s. I think he was making it up.
Someone goes to one Iowa City hardcore show and is like, these gangs of lesbians keep beating me up.
Yeah. But I guess that's the reputation that Iowa City's always had. Well, yeah, and speaking of the reputation, Emma, you've lived here for like 6 years? Am I remembering that right?
Let's say 5. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go with 5.
And you came out while living here, right?
Yeah, I came out basically a month after I moved here.
Okay.
I had that 2020 thing happen of like, oh no, I had to be alone with my feelings for a few minutes.
So I'm wondering, like, in your experience, having lived here for a few years, and you mentioned the mayor is often touting how welcoming and inclusive this community is. Like, what has been your experience? Like, does that ring true to you? How do you feel about things here?
I think in a lot of ways it does, but maybe not in ways that the mayor means. Right? I don't think it is like the institutions of the city are not why that happens, right? The University of Iowa did its very best to make me feel violently excluded at points in time, right?
Right. Working
with the city, while we ultimately achieved a lot of great goals, has been a frustrating and lengthy process, right? But I've gotten to meet so many other people here just by like being in town. My partner still lives in California, and they come out to visit sometimes. And we went to just some show, I think a show at Trumpet Blossom. And afterwards, they were talking to me, and there's like, I've never been to an event where there were that many like other trans people that wasn't a community event. That was just a show, right? That you just... that's such a normal experience to have in Iowa City is actually pretty unique.
Yeah, actually, so we watched a movie the other night in someone's backyard. Was I the only cis guy there?
You were.
Okay. That may have been the first time I've been the only one.
Yeah.
In a gathering of that many people.
I'm running through it. I'm like, yeah, I think it's you.
I think I was. Because somebody called me the grungler as I was leaving, and I was like, oh, I guess I actually was. Should we define grungler? Occasionally these terms come up on the show, and I feel like it's a public service to explain them to people like me.
Yeah. Nah, let's leave it. People can go find Tumblr posts from 6 years ago.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else about this? Oh, you know what? You mentioned that Coralville and North Liberty and Dubuque, and you're talking to people in other cities in the state about passing similar resolutions with similar protections and everything. How can people help make this happen? Like, I imagine there are people in smaller towns where this is less of a given that something like this will pass. Like, how can we help them? So
what you can do is I hate that I'm going to be like, contact your representative. But bother your city councilors, like make it really difficult for them not to respond to you. Organize. So one of the ways we kick this off and how this has managed to stay in something of the community consciousness was, 18 months almost ago, we organized a huge group of people to come to city council and demand this action. Right. And
right.
We did that multiple times. We sort of kept doing that, and sort of doing that kind of organizing is really important. So making sure that you're, actually in community, talking to people, making sure that this is what your community wants to do, which I can't see a reason why they wouldn't, but and yeah, bother the hell out of your city councilors. You can find a copy of this resolution on Iowa City's website. You can just email it to your city and be like, why don't we have this?
It just says, do this with a link.
Yeah, it's be a little more tactful than that, but basically. Well, and it's interesting because there are some cities don't have civil rights commissions or the broad rights stuff that Iowa City and Johnson County have, right? One of the reasons we can do this is because Iowa City's code has had gender identity in it for a really long time. This has been more than 20 years that these protections have existed in Iowa City. Which isn't true other places in the state,
Yeah.
Black Hawk County, I don't think has these rights, if I remember correctly. It's just not in their code. So that process would have to look differently because you would need an ordinance to amend the code, and that's a whole longer process.
Gotcha. So there's a framework that needs to be built up in order to do it the same way, at least. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If I'm wrong about Black Hawk County, please tell me, because I would like to be wrong.
For sure. Yeah, I think that it's very easy to lose faith in in attending city council meetings in order to affect change, because I think a lot of people who've been engaged for the past few years have seen similar efforts just fail because these people are very obstinate or cautious or just don't like being bothered. And so the key is get as many people involved as you can, keep up the pressure, because these people are very slow to act.
Exactly. But then on this happening on a county level, right? To give credit where credit is due, the Trans Advisory Committee, which is initially the body that drafted this at the county level and are the people pursuing this in other communities, wouldn't exist if V. Fix Rise and Mandy Remington hadn't also joined that push for it, and we hadn't gotten people on the county board of supervisors who were just as invested in this and just as committed to seeing this through. I think the community did most of this writing and most of this organizing, but they're electing people that you can actually talk to and will actually do their jobs is important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and it's, I tend to be very critical of anyone holding elected office, but you said you wanted to be nice to people at the beginning of this recording, and that's also probably an important thing to do.
And it's a little bit like, am I gonna be nice to Rob Sand? No, but but will I be nice to literally
September
my
4th.
City councilor? September 4th? Great.
Yeah,
I'll
Rob
still
Sand will
be
be
here.
here. He'll be at Field Day in North Liberty, September 4th. I plan to attend. I encourage you to do the same.
Is Field Day is it a weird sports bar? What is that?
It's a brewery, I think.
Yeah, it's a Big Grove type of place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there a couple times. Not my favorite, but it's fine. So, Emma, I thought you might be interested in discussing another topic. You mentioned that the University of Iowa did its best to make you feel excluded at many times in your time pursuing your doctorate here. So, part of this year's state legislative session was to remove the concept of DEI from state universities. These institutions established these offices kind of in response to the 2020 protests for racial equality and similar ideas. And there's a backlash to that going on now. Essentially, we want our schools to be more racist. That's kind of the bottom line.
And more xenophobic.
Of course, and homophobic, just bigoted across the board. We need to make this a safer space for white pieces of shit. And
well, to the point, didn't one of these meetings, like the president of Iowa State go like, I want to make sure that this weird little white farmer kid feels okay.
Yeah,
right?
it's for real.
Dog.
Yeah.
What are you talking about right now?
It's Iowa State.
Iowa famously unsafe. Iowa State is famously so unsafe for white farmers.
We have to protect these white boys' feelings while people are actually being discriminated against, like in terms of like employment and housing. It's absurd.
Yeah. Okay, well, what we've been finding out recently is that DEI, they've been scrubbing the words and everything, but a lot of the people that they hired into these positions have not flipped the switch. They have not become shittier people who no longer care about welcoming people who differ from the model Iowan. And there's been undercover videos taken exposing this, that people who were hired as like sort of a anti-racist PR thing, they're still not racist.
They don't. I feel like these people imagine that like they get up in the morning and they push the little button on their desk that says "Be more racist today," and they sort of just assume that everyone else does that.
Right, because that's what the state wants. We need to be furthering the project. We need to be realizing the vision of Kim Reynolds in our day-to-day lives. But let me read a little bit of this.
Which is for a white state full of corn and pig.
Sorry, you cut out for a second there, but I heard a white state full of corn and pigs, and I'm sure the rest of it was great. The most recent piece of news about this just came out on Friday. The Iowa Capitol Dispatch, Brooklyn Drazy, reported that 2 lawmakers say that university employees in violation of anti-DEI laws should be fired. The 2 GOP lawmakers are U.S. Representative Randy Feenstra and State Rep Taylor Collins. I'm forgetting who Taylor Collins is. What's his deal?
He's one of these young guys. So he's with like Skylar Wheeler and this whole crowd of like very online chud types of state legislator.
Yeah, is he the youngest one? I remember Carter Nordman is also very young.
Yeah, he's really young. I want to say Skylar Wheeler was the one who got mad about flags.
Yeah, Taylor Collins was born in 1996, so we got babyface racist.
Skylar Wheeler is my age.
Okay.
The Groyper contingent of the Iowa legislature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, so Taylor Collins and Randy Feenstra, they signed and sent a letter to the Iowa Board of Regents on Friday, which they want this to be distributed to University of Iowa President Barbara Wilson, Iowa State President Wendy Winterstein, previously mentioned, and University of Northern Iowa President Mark Nook. I didn't know his name. Mark Nook.
Is he related to Tom?
Yeah, that's one of those, like, I don't interact with UNI that much, so I'm like, yeah, I guess they have a president.
Yeah, right. I don't think he does much, but they sent a letter to these people to make sure DEI is dead on their campuses and to fire anyone who claims otherwise. So, quoting from them here, last May, Governor Reynolds signed legislation eliminating the DEI bureaucracies at our regent universities. In January of this year, President Trump signed an executive order ending DEI efforts in the federal government. Oh, right. This is last year that they passed this to eliminate DEI in the schools.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah. From Des Moines to Washington, D.C., clear messages have been sent to our institutions of higher education to end these radical programs. How radical were these programs? This came to being after I was no longer a student.
I interacted with these programs in as such as they gave me some resources when a professor called me a slur.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's
like
radical.
Yeah, or just, you know, making sure that like student organizations have rooms they can meet in. Like it's that small.
So it's kind of a logistical concern.
Well, that's what I have a lot of thoughts on this in that I've been part of like the DEI processes and engaged with like DEI committees at the University of Iowa, whatever, and they're always like slow and ineffectual, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's absurd to think that the core of that work doesn't have any value, right? Especially if that institution has to exist, right? And this idea that like it's a really interesting interpretation of that law on their part, because it sure doesn't say anything about firing people.
Yeah, I guess I don't have the text of the law in front of me, but it's essentially like you can't use certain words.
Yeah, basically, you can't use certain words. They've passed some other ones later that get more like you can't have a degree program about X or Y or whatever.
Mm-hmm, right.
And they did some stuff about like making sure that there's like no one has to take a DEI class to complete a degree or things like that.
I should never have to learn about anything outside of my lived experience.
As a white farmer from Northwest Iowa. But the idea that like we still have civil rights laws that have to be followed technically. Right.
Sure. Well, yeah. And there's like, you know, the ADA and stuff like, these institutions need to employ some people to make sure that they're complying with these laws. Right. Yeah,
they do. And the laws for the most part do have carve outs for that. And then they get mad that those carve outs exist. That's basically how they get mad that the law that they wrote is being followed.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I can pull up the video right now. In fact, I'm going to do that. But the recent backlash, these like undercover videos, these kind of like Project Veritas style videos that have been coming out, it's like these people aren't violating the law that was passed. Like,
no.
Not at all. They're talking about complying with it.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit of this one. This was the first one that came out and was on Fox News and everything, so it got a lot of attention. That's why everyone is mad and sending these letters right now.
I want to say maybe February.
This is the assistant director of the Leadership and Student Organization Development. I don't know what that means.
That a real thing. Well, there's that white building that's over next to like Hansher. Maybe it's the people that are in those offices.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm not going to say this woman's name on the show because she doesn't need any more attention right now. And to be clear, I don't think she said or did anything wrong in this video. But I'll let the listeners hear what she said.
February, March, our communications person came in and was like, hey, like we have to redo our websites per the regents to take off diversity, equity, inclusion, anything like that, any like buzzwords. So they swept our websites. So it's not there anymore. So it's not there, but we are essentially finding ways to operate around it. So that was our solution. We were like, oh, okay, we can't use that word. Okay, civic engagement. I think that's a lot of what we're doing. It's like, oh, okay, we're not allowed to use this word. Okay, well, we're just going to do this. So yeah, that's why you're not going to see DEI listed on any University of Iowa website. But there have been transitions and things that they've done, so they're not like getting rid of certain things. So like our websites.
All right, that's about a minute of like a 3-minute video where some guy came into her office and pretended to be concerned about
the pretending to be concerned. Like, who the fuck is this guy? It's like, oh, like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
who does
the
this?
one, the very early one where you can just hear under the breath, "Oh no!" It's so funny.
Oh no! Yeah. So yeah, she's describing how, you know, they're following the letter of the law, but you can tell that she doesn't really like that they're having to do this, and that they are attempting to continue the work that they feel is important in a way that doesn't violate the law, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of what I gathered from the video, and it's like, basically, I feel like there are things that they can't exactly pass in a law. Like, they can't just pass a law that's like, you know, segregate the school. They can't do it yet. Segregate the schools and you know, every employee of the school must pass a certain like ideological purity test or something. And since they can't really enforce the spirit of what they actually want, they need to like share videos like this, subjecting these people to like stochastic terrorism is like the next move.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you know, we're used to this strategy at this point in time. This is how right-wing orgs have been operating for a long time, especially like how many videos exist of a trans woman having a bad day and people just being like, and this means that you don't deserve rights and you're this horrible, awful thing, right?
Right.
I think there's this whole, like, if there is one lesson to take from all of this, it's, you know, try to be very considerate about who you talk to and what you tell them. And it sucks that has to go to this level of thing, right? Because, you know, normally that's like, I'm doing some really cool stuff, but I'm not going to talk about it. But this is just like, I'm doing a normal office job and I can't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, essentially that conversation is like, the state passed some dumb laws that made my job a little bit more frustrating. That's the conversation this woman was having.
Yeah. The conversation a lot of us have had in recent years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, fundamentally, this is a conflict between state lawmakers from all around Iowa who don't like university employees and want to hurt them. That's what it is fundamentally.
Yeah, exactly. And to be used as pretext for like, cool, we are going to further cut your budget. We're going to further make sure that like taxes can't go to this. We're going to use this 3-minute video that isn't really about what we say it's about to justify, you know, watch for Taylor Collins to introduce a like fire every woman at the University of Iowa bill or whatever.
Yeah, there's another article I pulled up from like a couple weeks previous to the one I was just reading about Feenstra and Collins, where Taylor Collins sent a letter to Barbara Wilson, an email. Collins told University of Iowa President Barbara Wilson in an email, the university needs to recognize the DEI ideology is present in campus culture and send a strong message that DEI is done. Look, there are a lot of elements of campus culture that can't really be controlled by the state, right? Like, you can't really change everyone's hearts and minds by passing a law. I think they knew that.
And what would it? What does that look like? Right? We need to make sure that there's not, you know, DEI and the spirit and the culture on campus. So you want the president of the university to come out and say, actually, I hate black people.
Right. That's what they want. Yes.
Those uppity transsexuals again.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Me and my colleagues' trust in your leadership was severely diminished this week, Collins wrote to Wilson. The UI has fumbled the elimination of DEI since April of 2024. And if incidents like these continue to occur, quote, the reputation of our state's flagship institution will continue to deteriorate.
I can't imagine why it was deteriorating.
Yeah, for real. Who's doing that? Who's fucking tarnishing the image worse? Like,
we're definitely improving
the
reputation this year.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be real. I've already, before you did that, I was telling people, hey, don't come here. You know, people who are like, yeah, I'm maybe going to think about doing my PhD. How did you like UI? Don't come here.
Right. And what were your concerns, if you feel comfortable getting into that? Why would you discourage people from coming to the University of Iowa?
So when I'm saying that, I am specifically talking about like other trans women in like music communities who've reached out to me, and it was like, one, on a legal level, that's currently a really hard thing to ask of someone, and so you just make sure people know what the legal situation is in Iowa at the moment.
Right. Yeah. Don't move into the state right now. Yeah.
Right. And then additionally, facing like, you know, it's no secret that I got arrested for being trans and loud about it at the University of Iowa, right? Mm-hmm. So like that can just happen to you here. And especially now, like so little institutional support for, you know, any marginalized community, let alone just trans people. But that like I had very, very little meaningful institutional support that my peers got, right? Including like I basically didn't have an advisor for 3 years because of the university being the way it is, and just had a lot of like issues like that where it's just like every little thing became more difficult, including like to the point of like my qualifying exams for my PhD. You submit a list of how that works in music, at least in my department. As part of that is you submit a list of like works that you are an expert on, and they ask you a whole bunch of questions about them. And I submitted a whole bunch of works by women, and I had a faculty member tell me, quote, I can only ask you about things I know, and I don't know any women who made classical music. I'm just like, I just gave you a list of 10 women.
Yeah. Well, that kind of like, that kind of exposes that whole process as being kind of fraudulent, where like,
exactly.
These are people who like outrank you, and they're sort of like challenging your expertise on something that they don't know about. So,
exactly.
Like, is this necessary?
Yeah. And then just a lot of like little, you know, constant, I'm going to use a word, constant microaggression kind of things that just make it incredibly frustrating.
That's a word they want to ban.
That's in this article. I think you're not allowed to use that word as at the university anymore. You're allowed to, though, because you graduated.
Exactly. They gave me a piece of paper that says that I know what words mean. And so, see, the thing about getting a PhD is they let you invent words, and that's a fun one.
Sure, you have the authority, now to. Mm-hmm.
Doctor of words.
You can say asyncretic moment, and that means something.
And you have the credentials, so people don't even question it. They're like, "Oh, she knows what that means." Like,
yeah, that's a real word. You didn't make that up just now.
The reason I don't know is because I'm not as smart.
Yeah, PhDs famously measure how much you know.
Yeah,
generally, broadly.
Yeah.
So a lot of those problems that you experienced, so there's an effort by the state to directly make those more challenging, less inviting to most people, and it's also making these institutions less attractive to people who might work there, not only to enroll as a student in a degree program, but to be a teacher or a staff member in these various offices. The law is doing that, and now these sort of like undercover videos are like making it, you know, like, why would I want to work there when there's like little shitheads trying to catch me saying the wrong phrase, and they'll send it to Fox.
Well, and this is this has already been the situation, because what they already want to do is make sure that no money goes to anything ever, right? Like that's the ultimate goal. And so like part of that is forcing the university to operate on nothing, right? Like there was, in my time, there was a job at the music department for basically a person to do all of the like advertising and media and everything for the music department, right? And a bunch of like outreach things. And they're just like, it's this job and you need a master's degree and we're only going to pay you $40K for a job that requires a master's degree that you will have to move for.
Yeah. Things are going well and they're only getting better.
Yeah. And there's like, and why isn't anyone applying? It's like, because why would they?
Yeah. Before we move off this topic, there is one more of these undercover videos that I thought was worth sharing with the listeners to this show. It's only 30 seconds. And I
don't think I've seen this one.
Okay, I think I'll contextualize a little bit afterwards. I forget where I got this, but actually, let me just pull that up. Let me make sure I remember, because it's kind of funny. Maybe I don't have this. No, I do. Townhall.com, which seems to be a crazy right-wing, quote-unquote, media organization. They filmed this one, and whoever uploaded it to their YouTube titled the video University of Iowa. Like SOTY is how they spell
Someone
university.
Doesn't have a PhD.
I know. And like, it's a silly thing to pick on, but it's like, maybe it is relevant. Like, maybe the people trying to like gin up the controversy here are fucking stupid. And we shouldn't like actually take this seriously. Okay, let me play the video.
You won't find it by Googling it because of our state legislature, governor, state house. They're all that side. So they've directed the board of regents to, I don't know if eliminate's the right word, but stop using the word. So you'll see words like community and those types of things, belonging, community, all those. We still have cultural centers here. There's DEI work happening. I think, somebody's not going to have that in their job description because of the state house. Just to be candid, I think what most are worried about is funding, because we're state-funded institutions.
Right. So everything that Emma was just saying, it's been revealed by this shocking secret video that was taken. That was Corey Lockwood, who is, I don't mind saying his name on the podcast. He's the senior associate director of the Iowa Union Memorial, is how they captured it here in this video. It's the Iowa Memorial Union. That one's less egregious than spelling university wrong. But Corey Lockwood, I knew him because he testified at the Marbles trial, the infamous Marbles trial. So, you assist in the prosecution of two Marble protesters, and then it comes back to bite you only a year later. Yeah. You've been filmed secretly, just sort of very straightforwardly explaining a situation, a legal situation. Yeah. I think where he really steps in it there is he said there is still DEI work happening.
Yeah.
I think, like,
you want a playbook of what not to say.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, he's just like telling them the lay of the land. Like, we're not allowed to say these certain words, but there's people still doing similar work, but kind of like phrasing it differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Corey, you didn't deserve that. I think he's on leave right now because of that video, but maybe consider who your real friends are, I guess.
University of Iowa leave working like exile would be very funny. Like if they put you on leave, you have to leave town.
Right. Yeah.
Put you on a horse and walk you to Coralville, and then just
we're like a prison colony or penal colony. Yeah. Well, that is kind of what they did to the people that they accused of trying to set up an encampment last spring. they gave them like trespass bans on campus, and that is essentially being exiled from Iowa City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was, and that those, if memory serves, those didn't stick because that's literally what they were trying to do, a thing that is unconstitutional.
It's crazy. Like, you didn't even really have any look, I'm pretty sure some of the people they gave those trespass bans to weren't even involved. I think they're just they know these people are friends. So they just, like, literally by association, we're like, yeah, you're not allowed. Like,
you're mutuals on Twitter, so we'll give you a no trespass.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we maybe have time for one more little fun thing. I'm going to give Emma the option here. Would you like to talk about after a decade of defeats, some Iowa Democrats are changing the way they talk to voters? 2, should Iowa Democrats go rogue and go first with 2028 caucuses? And maybe this one. This is kind of a out of left field. Lawyer fleeced clients, lied about judges, and is a danger to the public.
Ooh, all good options. Perhaps the first one, because I sure have opinions about it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let me pull a little bit out of this. This is from Aaron Murphy with the Cedar Rapids Gazette. After a decade of defeats, some Iowa Democrats are changing the way they talk to voters. All right, here's how it begins. Skip Kenyon liked what he heard from Rob Sand. A retired lawyer from Creston, Kenyon said he found himself in total agreement with Sand, who talked about his faith, led the crowd in singing America the Beautiful, praised law enforcement, and badmouthed the Democrat-led states of California and New York.
Yo, I fucking hate Rob Sand.
Can you believe he did all that? He said all that stuff? And a retired lawyer agreed with him on all of it?
Whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
I agree with bad-mouthing California and New York, but everything else is
be
pretty
clear.
bad.
There are things to badmouth California and New York.
Yeah. He's come out against Gavin Newsom.
For sure. I'm sure he did. I forgot that this article was about Rob Sand. Otherwise, I might have excluded it from the options. What do we got here? Kenyon voted Republican in the last election, but came to hear from Sand, along with more than 100 others, on an early August weekday afternoon in this Union County seat of roughly 7,500. So this is exactly the type of articles that Rob Sand wants out there. Mm-hmm. Some old guy named Skip, who voted for Trump 6 months ago, loves me.
He's got guys named Skip on lock. I think that's like the exact guy he's trying to pitch his campaign to.
They quoted Skip here. Maybe I should do a voice. Should I guess what Skip sounds like?
Oh, please.
He's a retired lawyer, so I could do sort of like a country lawyer type of thing. You know?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
I agree with him 100%. How do they say percent? Percent. I got to do a little more up, I think. Percent. I agree with him 100%. I think he hit the nail right on the head, Kenyon said after hearing Sand speak for about an hour inside a Creston bar and grill. The fact that our political system is broken. And then there's an ellipsis.
Wow. Very specific.
It's time to get past Republicans versus Democrats and figure out what it takes to fix these problems.
I wish things were better, you know? I just wish things were good instead of bad.
This fellow Rob says he thinks things should be better, too.
We have all of these problems, and all of our lawmakers are so heavily invested in the ag lobby and the pork lobby. So what we really need is a Democrat, but he's still one of those ag lobby, pork lobby guys.
Yeah. The real problem is division. So everything's so divisive. What if we had a guy who was not divided from anyone?
Well, and it got to the point, I don't remember her name, but the Des Moines school board person who's running for
Jackie Norris,
who didn't even say what party she was in her campaign announcement. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, the thing I don't understand is that, at least in the 5 years that I've lived here, this is what every Democrat was already like, and they lost every election.
Yeah. Where's the change here?
Every couple months we get another of these articles that's like the Democrats are trying to reach out to the normals, the rural working class or whatever.
Yeah.
They're talking different this time for real. But it's like, no, you did this before too.
Yeah.
You've been doing this since I've been alive.
Yeah, there was that Wall Street Journal article that just came out about Rob Sand that was like, is this guy a new template for like the kinds of candidates that should run in, these bumfuck states? And it's like, I mean, come on. Like, what are you talking about? He's the exact like template of the people they've already been running. Like,
he literally tells you he's a Democrat because of Bill Clinton. He's like emulating Clinton in many ways.
Yeah.
Well, and it's insane because like, just imagining so you want to click to it's not about parties, it's about like division and coming together about stuff, right? So cool. What if you go out there and don't say I'm a Democrat, but say everybody deserves health care, right? And you talk about that, right? Say you deserve to have clean drinking water in Iowa.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's insane.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because healthcare and drinking water are things that appeal to human beings. Those are things that
and not pigs.
Well, pigs got to drink water too, I think.
Yeah,
I think
fair
they
point.
do.
Fair point. Well, are they allowed to in our current situation? Is a whole other question.
They might have lower standards. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, those. I think those things have broad appeal because all humans kind of need the same things to survive. So that kind of cuts through the party bullshit, I think, if you focus on those things. But none of them seem to really do that.
You might call them human rights.
Oh, yeah.
That's DEI. I'm sorry. We can't talk about humans.
Yeah, next legislative session, we're going to cross out the word rights from like any institutional language. No talk of rights. The government can't give you rights. That comes from God.
So if the government can't give you rights, it is in fact your job to take them. Anyway.
You shouldn't write words like that down. God will tell you directly what rights you have.
In a vision, perhaps.
This
is what Angels in America is about.
There's a bit more about a different candidate here, so let's not talk about Rob for a moment. In Webster City, Dawn Butler was one of a much smaller number of people, 8, who came to a local restaurant to see Nathan Sage, a Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate who regularly becomes emotional and worked up during his campaign events, frequently swears, and takes pride in being described as looking and sounding like MAGA despite his Democrat with a capital D beliefs.
I'm sorry I'm MAGA coded. You guys have to just deal.
I'm a big, brash, bearded man, and I know what that looks like.
We famously never had any Democrats like that ever.
Never.
Dawn Butler is who they talk to here. Says she donated to Sage's campaign after listening to him. I like the fact that he cursed, Butler said. That's what I want to see.
We've been talking about this for months. Like, I mean, that's what the voters want. It's been proven.
You got to say
this proves it.
You got to. That's what I want to see. I want to see my candidates be almost just as mean as Republicans are, because being nice is getting nowhere, and it's time to step that up. She's on to something there, you know?
Yeah, there's a little something there.
Yeah. Skip Kenyon and Dawn Butler are examples of the kinds of Iowa voters Democrats in the state are trying to win back after the party has largely suffered a string of electoral defeats over the past decade. I didn't really say who Dawn Butler is, just that she was one of 8 people who went to a Nathan Sage event.
No.
Doesn't sound like things are going super well for Nathan. I'm sorry to hear that.
Someone dropped out of the Senate race this week, right?
J.D. Scholten dropped out, yes.
Scholten, that was it.
Yes. That was another thing I considered including in the episode, but we'll
just a real major loss for everyone not having J.D. Scholten.
I mean, of an uninspiring field, he was the one that I kind of liked, but I'm not super invested.
It seems like all of the big money now is on Josh Turek, who came out of nowhere to run, but he does seem to have all of like the state party behind him, as opposed to Nathan Sage and Zach Walls. I do think I like Nathan Sage's approach to politics more than I do like. I mean, I think that lady is talking about. I like that he's kind of an asshole.
We've got to be really careful with this, because the last time we did this, we got John Fetterman.
I know that is true. Yep. I'm not going to endorse Nathan Sage, but I do think compared to like the toxic positivity that so many Democrats like Rob Sand he's the embodiment of that, I think.
Oh yeah.
And it's grating. So grating.
He kind of, his public image is kind of like the guy who would think that crap is too egregious of a swear word. He would never be caught saying that.
Yeah.
He feels really Mormon.
Yeah.
Again, we're still just doing Angels in America bits. Welcome to the podcast.
I mean, he won't say Trump's name, like Rob Sand will not. He like literally doesn't. He has obliquely referenced some things that the Trump administration has done, but he does not want to criticize any Republicans like directly.
Yeah. I mean, that may be because when he went on Simon Conway's show shortly after announcing his current campaign, that was like the first thing that Simon was hammering on was, you tweeted once that Trump is bad.
Simon Conway is that weird British guy who's on the radio here, right? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that was the one where he was really weird about trans kids, right?
Yeah, it was the one where, like, the week that maybe the day after he announced his campaign, he was asked by a right-wing radio host, do you think boys should be playing girls' sports? And that has plagued Rob Sand for the whole campaign so far, but he's very, very coyly and he's avoided, walking that back at all. What a strategist.
I do. Every time I see a new Rob Sand person at the farmer's market, I ask them about that. And every single time they say, oh, I'm sorry. And then they start talking to someone else.
Oh, wow.
Damn. They've totally given up. Okay. I'm going to say one more thing from this article about Democrats talking different. It's actually a really long article, but you get the idea. They're a little rough around the edges, huh? Here, this paragraph here. The economic message, that would be Nathan Sage saying that, like, there's billionaires and shit and they're taking all the stuff. And Sage's expression of his eagerness to, quote, fight for Iowans resonated with Dawn Butler. She also said she likes that they are close in age. She is 43 and Sage is 40. I mean, I guess that's good.
Wow.
If I found out that a politician had shared my birthday, I would be pretty excited.
So this fundamental supposition is that every single voter in Iowa is some kind of rube who's like, they kind of look like me and they said fuck. So, they got my vote.
Yeah. I mean, there's evidence supporting the claim. But then this is the really important part of that paragraph. Dawn Butler also joked that it helps that Sage is a fellow fan of the heavy metal band Slipknot.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So we got to figure out if he's a real fan, I think. As experts on Iowa's greatest cultural
Give him a
export.
blindfold challenge, like, what album is this song from?
I mean, he is a Marine. He was a Marine. So, like, I feel like
that's a Slipknot-coded occupation.
For real. I think any branch of the military, that is the most Slipknot-coded.
For sure, yeah. But we just got to figure out if he's doing it for pandering or if he's, like, a legit fan like us.
Yeah, like us, for sure. That'll get my vote,
Yeah.
Sage is some 14-year-old girl in a Nirvana t-shirt that a bunch of people online have to go bully.
Yeah. All right, name 5 songs, Nathan. All right. That's I think that's been the podcast for today. You feel satisfied that we've expressed enough of our opinions? How are we doing?
I think we're doing okay.
Cool. Emma, thanks for coming on. Do you have anything that you would like to plug or just make sure people know about?
I've got a couple of things. So you mentioned earlier the Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund, which is, again, you talked about like what makes Iowa City and Iowa special, and like very few places have something like the Iowa Transmutual Aid Fund that operates at the scale that it does. So if you need help accessing care, including, really importantly, if you lost access to your healthcare because HRT is no longer covered by Medicaid, you please reach out to the Iowa Transmutual Aid Fund. Their funding applications open at the beginning of every month, and then sort of there's a really brief interview process, and then you get direct support. Like, they helped me out a little covering my surgery over the summer. They're really a fantastic organization. And they cover all sorts of things, not just HRT. Really, if you like, I need to get a binder or something, they can help you out with that. Or transportation to medical appointments, they can help out with. Additionally, if you are in Johnson County and need help accessing your healthcare, the Emma Goldman Clinic has funds through a county grant to help you out. There is money there to provide HRT to people through the Emma Goldman Clinic. So please, if you are in Johnson County, that is a great resource that they're sort of like really itching to get out there.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Let people know about that. That's one of the TAC things was getting that together.
Nice.
There is also if you're trans and trying to change your name in Johnson County, reach out to an organization called Lavender Legal. They also got a county grant to help cover costs for that.
I will make sure there are relevant links in the full episode notes for anyone who needs help finding Iowa Transmutual Aid Fund or Lavender Legal.
Mm-hmm. There's one more. If you have a really direct and immediate need for HRT, reach out to someone in the Iowa City community. There are further resources than this that can help you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, everyone's pretty tight knit, so there are people who know people who know people.
Just go to a punk show.
Pretty much.
And, just go to a punk show, and you will leave either a different gender or Justin.
All right, a couple things that I want to make sure is on people's radars and calendars. We've mentioned this in recent episodes that my city of Coralville budgeted a bunch of money, not a bunch of money, but some money for automated license plate reader cameras from a company called Flock Safety. I have a lot of concerns about this company and their cameras and the warrantless searches that cops from around the entire nation can conduct on the data from these cameras. So I'd rather we not have those cameras here. And there's a local effort to oppose this. And just this week, one of our city councilors, Rich Vogelzang, he reached out to his friend, real estate guy Rex Brandstatter, and they're trying to rally the troops to come to this Tuesday's city council meeting, August 26th, 6:30 p.m. at Coralville City Hall. They're trying to turn out people to support the purchase and implementation of these cameras. And so I think I would like to also rally the troops in opposition. So if you can make it, it'd be great to see you there on Tuesday night at Coralville City Council. These cameras are bad. That's my take.
Yeah.
Agreed.
These cameras are part of the reasons protesters in Iowa City get arrested, because the University of Iowa runs these. There are versions of these cameras that are illegal in Iowa City. Like the Iowa City has an ordinance against implementing these kind of cameras because they are an extreme invasion of privacy and because they are used nationally to sort of track people in a really sort of sinister way.
Yes. Very invasive and look, would you want every cop in the whole country to know your exact whereabouts at all times? That seems like a crazy thing to want. Other upcoming events, I did mention this earlier in the episode, but just to remind you, Rob Sand will be holding a town hall at Field Day in North Liberty, September 4th. It begins at 5:30 p.m. I think there are a lot of questions that this guy needs to be asked very directly about his funding sources, his father-in-law's blood money that funds his campaigns. It's animal blood, mostly, but it is blood money.
Mostly.
So yeah, he needs to be pressed on, how are you actually going to solve the problems caused by the agricultural industry when you are entirely beholden to the profits of your wife's family, which is on the backs of the agricultural industry? Questions like that, I think, would be good for him to be asked.
Among others.
Give us one
Maybe
more
don't make
example.
a scene, but
I'm making a scene.
hold him to the fire. Yeah, Justin's making a scene.
Oh, I think making a scene would be worth it.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I don't know. He will use that. He will use that if he can. If he can be like, oh, these radical leftists are disrupting
these
my
radical
campaign
leftists
events.
who want to not get cancer and want their friends to have civil rights.
Yeah. Maybe he won't be prepared for this one. Is he still proud that his first appearance in national media was enforcing the state's anti-BDS law? Does he still think that was a good thing?
That's a good one.
Yeah. But more fun, the night after that, September 5th, I'll be playing with the band Lou Sherry as part of the Friday night concert series on the Iowa City Ped Mall. I'm very excited for that. Good band. I'm playing some nice little tenor sax parts for that. And I'll plug this one too. Later in the month, September 20th, Weapon X, which is my duo with Will Yeager. You know us from the band Wombat, but our duo is Weapon X. We'll be opening for Rashadicus, Rashad Eggleston. You've maybe seen him on Instagram as the Cello Goblin. He plays like kazoo and cello and stuff, and he climbs stuff and makes cool noises. We're playing a show at the Close House in Iowa City, September 20th. So I'd love to see.
Oh, I'm sad. I'm sad to miss that. That sounds like it would be an incredible show.
Yeah,
that guy is great.
He's fun. Yeah, if I could, I would move it earlier so you could come, but it's out of my hands. All right, listeners, if you have any thoughts on any of today's subjects and you'd like to weigh in, please give us a call, 319-849-8733. Leave us a voicemail. Your voicemail may end up being fodder for a future podcast, which will likely be available at patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. It's called Rock Hard Call Us. That's the series that I'm referring to there. But we will likely be having a new episode of Dough Brain Book Club releasing on the Patreon this week. I'm recording with Eden tonight, so coming soon. Dough Brain Book Club Hardwired Episode 3, likely this week.
Hell yeah.
Emma's laughing a lot.
Thank you for reminding me of Joseph Dobrin.
It's always fun to remember him. Well, Emma, we like to close the show with music. Do you have anything that you think would be fitting to close today's episode?
I don't know. There's that new Boot Camp record.
I could certainly play something from the new Boot Camp record.
I think he was asking about your music.
Oh, my music. What a fascinating thing. I've put like nothing out recently because of lots of reasons. No, I would not like to accept your cookies Bandcamp.
It's free cookies.
Free cookies.
You could play the song Turn, which is on my album Two Rivers in the Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have that one downloaded, so I will insert that here. All right. Everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you, Evan, for co-hosting. Thank you, Emma, for guesting.
Of course.
We've done it. Episode 212. It's in the can. Thanks,
Hell
everyone.
yeah.
Finn.
Sick.